What happens when a TV show, a historic folk tradition, and the power of community collide in the mountains of Yosemite? In this conversation, you'll hear how one creator is weaving art, storytelling, and the old ways of living into retreats that spark transformation, creativity, and connection. Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, transformational coaches, and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to help coaches and entrepreneurs amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible, leveraging podcasts and Substack. Today, we are chatting with Willow Paulson. Willow is an artist, writer, and director, best known as the showrunner of the TV series Manos Chronicles. She is also an Oddfellow, founder of the Yosemite Motherlode Folk School, and visionary behind Yosemite Old Ways Retreats. Her retreats blend nourishing food, hands-on creative experiences, and time in the serene mountain setting surrounding Yosemite National Park. With a passion for community, tradition, and storytelling, Willow helps people reconnect with themselves and each other through art, nature, and the wisdom of the old ways. Welcome to the show, Willow. It's great to have you here.
Hello, thanks for having me.
All right, let's ask you the big question and we'll get rolling here.
I'm ready.
What's the most significant thing in your opinion as individuals we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
Well, as you said earlier, community, right? I don't just sit in your house in your pillow fort. You have to actually like talk to people, and you can do that online, but in-person community is super important for that. And as you mentioned, I'm an odd fellow. That's part of why, because it's doing good community service. So take care of yourself. Self-care is super important. So don't forget that you're part of what needs to happen to make the world a better place, including yourself, but also reach out into the community and participate in a seed bank. Go to these different things that are happening out there. I promise you, they are. If you leave your house and go see what they are, they're happening, and you can participate, and they're fun. It's fun to help your neighbors.
It's fun to help your neighbors. Just getting out and walking sometimes you get to know people that are in your community or go to the park.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Well, I'm in
I
a
don't
very isolated rural area. So when I walk out my front door, it's trees and birds and kind of not much else. And my nearest neighbor is like a mile from me. So but when I lived in the city, yeah, you walk around and you say, hey, those are lovely roses. You start a conversation. The next thing you know, you're, trading cool things and playing cards together. So, but up here, that's part of why, again, I joined the Oddfellows, is to get me out of the house and go down and help out the community of Coulterville, which is a little tiny isolated foothills community. Even before that, I joined up the board of the local history center because I saw a need. I'm one of these people. I stick my hand up. I want to help, and my love of history and wanting to make sure that that's preserved for the future was my the fire under me to get me going there. And the Oddfellows Lodge is a historic lodge, so we need to work to keep it going for another 160 years, right? So
I love that. I love history. I love live history where we can
yes.
live it and feel it and bring it
Mm-hmm.
into the present and help younger generations understand how to incorporate things into their lives. We were talking a little bit before the show about my homesteading adventures, which started when I was in my 40s. I
Wow.
all my life had always wanted to live on a farm and have chickens,
Mm-hmm.
but I never did. And my parents
Mm-hmm.
didn't even have gardens when I was growing up. I
Oh
had
man,
no
that's no good.
idea how to plant anything. My parents didn't even have plants in our house. We were
Oh,
always moving. We were part of my dad was in the military, and so it was
got
just
it.
like I had no clue, and it was way before the internet.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
you even knew that those sorts of things existed, you you had to go to the library to research
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Back in my day.
And my mom, she was horribly afraid of birds, so chickens were absolutely out of the question.
Right.
And because I think she watched that Birds movie all those
Oh
years
no.
ago.
Oh no.
but no birds in our house. And her
Mm.
mother, who she had a really bad relationship with, was a gypsy. And I wish I'd known
Ah,
back then when she was still alive. But she did make her
wow.
own soap, or grandma's life soap. And
Yeah.
my mom was always like, don't touch that stuff, you'll burn yourself. I didn't understand the process for making soap, but I'm sure that you
Okay.
wouldn't burn yourself.
She probably heard lie and was like, "Oh no, caustic," and it's like,
I,
but that's one of the many ingredients, and it's yeah, don't like rub it in your eyes or something, but it's yeah,
and
it's fun.
vinegar is the antidote.
No, there you go. See, yeah, simple. So, but you
Yeah.
mentioned Carla Emery book before we started talking. And yeah, that's there. Okay, back deedly back in my day, um, the 70s was a huge resurgence of the Back to the Land movement and the
Mhm.
whole hippie thing where people were living in the country and communes and all of that. And even in the city, people were interested. How do you make soap? How do you make sourdough bread? How do you do these things? And there was almost a loss in the 80s of some of this. There was, some of it was carried through in the 70s, but then, the 80s, fast times, we're modern now. We don't want to do granny stuff. And that's actually how I started learning how to make traditional baskets from a native lady, because there kind of wasn't anybody else learning it from her. And the same thing with regalia too, dance regalia. It was almost lost because unless one person stood up and was like, "This is I need to help carry this forward." There's a lot of unwritten things. There's things in books, but there's a lot of things that are not in books. They're oral traditions, and that brokenness is happily being rediscovered as we are like, hold on, the old people, well, the elders, are passing on, and their knowledge is going with them. And that's part of, again, with the museum, we take oral history recordings and preserve that stuff. And fortunately, some was preserved, and now we have our digital recording. Now we can carry that forward, and now we can listen to the voice of the last stagecoach driver in Yosemite and what he did and where he went, because one person decided it was important to capture that. Going back to your first question, that's the kind of thing one person can do to make a huge difference in the world. And you may not realize at the moment it's not that important, but 20 years from now, someone may go, "I'm so glad you did that. You saved that information from being lost." And that's our heritage. That's our history. Without our history, kind of who are we?
Yeah. And how do we keep ourselves going? I mean, we're
Hmm.
quickly moving into a situation where people don't know how to feed themselves or
Right.
make structures, or if you were dropped
Yeah.
in the middle of the woods, could you
Hmm.
survive? Most
Hmm.
people couldn't.
Yeah. No, I mean, I that helps me feel comfortable and confident because I can do that. Like I can,
Mhm.
like, as I mentioned, nothing but birds and trees. I can walk out into the woods and get safe drinking water, find food, make myself a shelter, start a fire if I have to. And these things, they're valuable knowledge. Now, most people aren't going to get dropped in the middle of the woods and have to survive like that. However, with food scarcity, remember COVID, we had no toilet paper for weeks and weeks, those kinds of things, they happen. They can happen. The price of things is going up. Do you know how to grow your own food? Maybe you don't have a place to grow your own food, but you can at least grow maybe some windowsill herbs. Trade with somebody who can grow food. There's your community again, right? If as long as you have other
Microgreens,
people. What's that?
microgreens. You
Microgreens,
don't have
great.
to go really, really big.
Hmm.
There's, you can,
Hmm.
you have to know how to do it again, but
Right.
there's tons of nutrition and they don't take up
Hmm.
a lot of space.
Right.
But it's those kinds of things people don't have any clue about.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that, well, there's a resurgence right now of handicraft, so especially because of COVID. So
Mhm.
everybody now, well, especially younger people, are doing crochet and embroidery and knitting and those kinds of things, and it's starting to expand out into the cottage core, the Hobbit core, that's like,
Mhm.
well, if I can do this, I can also do this. Well, what if I start doing these interesting collages out of, animal bones? And what if I start, learning how to like make my own tea and then grow my own tea and then trade my own tea with other people for things that I think are important? That's what a community is. That's what we used to do, that's gotten so broken in the 20th century and moving into the 21st century. That's why I do what I do, in part, is to try and excite people into, this isn't old timey granny stuff. Knowing how to make something matters. Can you keep yourself warm? Do you know how to light a fire if you have to? Those sorts of things. Even in the city, foraging is huge. I mean, do you know how to safely find food in the middle of the city? Well, I can. How many other people can? Maybe not. Maybe they'll fall, oh, this is fine, but it's right next to a freeway. You don't want to eat that because it's been poisoned by all the exhaust. But if you go over here, you might find some safe variations on the same thing, but you know what to look for. Anyway, I'm going on, but
And
these are the skills.
they are important skills, and it's really important if you're going to be a forager to know exactly what you're looking for, because
Yeah.
oftentimes there are two things and they look very
Mm-hmm.
similar, and one will kill
Yep.
you and one will
Yeah.
nourish you.
Yep.
And it's like you can't, there was a whole movie made about a kid who went up to Alaska and foraging killed him. He
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
thought he had a book and he thought that was
Mm-hmm.
enough, but it's not enough. You need to
No.
talk to people who have real knowledge
Yeah.
and can say, this is good, this is not so good. There are
Right.
a lot of flowers you can eat, and most people don't
Mm-hmm.
realize that.
Right.
We joke about
Right.
our dog. We walk him along the same route every year, and there's this one rose bush that there's rose hips all winter. He
Right.
loves to snack on the rose hips. He's the craziest dog.
Yeah. Yeah. No, wild coyotes here will eat the manzanita berries because they're very high in vitamin C and they're
Yeah.
nutritious in that way. And the animals are smart. They know these things, they know what to eat and what not to eat. But now we've got AI versions of like mushroom identification guides. This is perfectly safe, and they're super not. So maybe like don't use AI to identify deadly plants.
Yeah, don't depend on AI to tell you what's safe to eat or not.
Yeah, no, yeah, don't do that.
But yeah, don't,
Which is
please
why
don't.
we need hands-on, in-person, ideally, classes that, because you can watch all the videos you want about like how to spin wool into yarn and then make that into a warm garment. But until you physically handle the wool on a spinning wheel, you're not going to understand the process fully, right? You just can't. It's a
That
tactile thing.
that works for you. And everybody is different.
Yeah.
We were talking
Yeah.
about making bread before we got
Hmm.
started here, and I literally 10 years minimum. I've
Hmm.
been watching videos, doing
Hmm. Hmm.
research, trying,
Hmm.
trying, trying to
It's
make
the
bread.
trying. It's the
And
trying.
and I have a specific kind of bread that I like to eat. It has a kind of texture for the
Hmm.
crust, and the inside, which is called the crumb, looks a specific way. And it took
Hmm.
me years to figure it out. And I
Hmm.
did figure it out, and it's super simple.
Yep.
It doesn't take me any time. I make bread every week, probably a couple times
Nice.
a week. It's like probably not something I should be so good at because it's not great for my waistline. But hey,
Yeah.
it makes me feel good, and I have a great sense of satisfaction that I've discovered a way that's repeatable and I can
Hmm.
share with
Yeah.
my daughters-in-law. I'll make
Hmm.
bread now. I've given them the sourdough, so it's like
Yeah. There you
part
go.
of our family heritage. And
Right. There you go. Yeah.
it's like it's
Yeah.
fun. It's
Yeah.
fun
It's
to pass these things
hands-on,
down.
the hands-on knowledge, right? Yeah. And passing along you can't pass sourdough through Zoom, right? I mean, you have to, you have to be there, right? You have to be in the room. You must be present to win.
Yeah, and different starters, they
Hmm.
can it can be runny, it can be a little thicker. It's just like you just gotta feel it.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's all about how
Yeah.
it feels and how it looks, and
Yep.
it doesn't translate through video. It
Yeah, right, right.
you have to just do it. There are a lot of
Yep.
things in life you just have to do
Yeah, yeah, they
to
turn out differently.
understand.
I was just watching a video this morning about how to make plant dye out of nutsedge, which is an invasive weed kind of that's native to America. And so I went out and cut off all the little flower heads, and I had them cooking in a pot. And it looks like that dye is going to turn out. It's sitting out on my porch in the sun, just like kind of right now. And so
Mhm.
now I have to spin some yarn so that I can dip dye it in the nutsedge and add more, so I'm still learning. It's just, it's so fun to go, ooh, how do I do that? Ooh, how do I do that? And the world's a rabbit hole, right? It's full of rabbit holes.
It's
And that's,
so fun.
yeah, it really is, and people are intimidated by this stuff. It's like, well, start small. You don't have to know all the things. I mean, just try one thing. And if you
Mhm.
like it, keep going.
I started making soap that way. It was like melt and
There you go.
pour. I saved all my scraps and I would melt them
Mm-hmm.
all down and I would make
Yep.
them into some different shape. I was really excited because I'd made soap.
Yeah, no, it's very empowering. It feels really good to make sense. Say, I made this out of nothing, and especially if you go all the way back to the process and you've got raw fleece and you got to wash it and then you got to card it and you got to, spin it and then you got to knit it and then you've got a garment, and then understanding that process, having done that process, then you realize all the work that went into that back 100, 200, 5,000 years ago. How did people do things? How was that done? And you have a new respect for the handwork, and it's not just like, oh, it's just
Yeah,
some stuff, whatever. It's like, no, someone spent days and days and days making this one thing.
it goes even further to the animal that the fleece came off of.
Yeah, I used to
And
have sheep. I don't now. But
I
I have a
but
friend that has
the
sheep.
but somebody is caring for those
Hmm.
animals
Yep.
and helping them to reproduce and
Yep.
have food and protection
Hmm.
and shears them and then you get the fleece and I mean
Yep.
it's a whole long process to
Yeah.
get to a finished product. We don't respect clothing anymore. It's just
Right.
like
Right.
not a big deal. Even linen is a plant-based
Yeah.
fabric. And
Yeah.
people don't even know that. Silk is
Hmm.
an animal-based product, but it's based off of a worm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been to silk factories. They
Hmm.
smell horrible.
Do
It's
they?
worse than a paper factory. It's just really bad. But that's how silk is made. It's the cocoon is
Hmm.
unspun and then it's spun into thread and then
Yeah, it's
that's how
wild.
silk is comes to be. Most people don't understand how fabric becomes
Right.
fabric.
Right. They
Cotton
get the fast fashion from, Walmart or something, and it costs them, $9, and it's like it's a throwaway thing.
is
And
plastic.
it
In a
well, it
lot of
yeah,
cases,
it is. Yeah, in most cases it is some synthetic material, and it doesn't breathe, right? So it's not good in any season, kind of. In It's that whole disposable fast fashion and fast everything society, right? That it's see, people will buy new shoes every year because they fall apart, as opposed to getting one really good, well-made pair of shoes that'll last you for 10 years. It's that whole, I don't know how to get people out of that mentality. I mean, maybe me as one person can't, but hey, here's a podcast. You're watching this right now, person out there. Hello. Maybe you can,
what's
rethink, you know, how you're doing
one
that.
thing you can decide is going to be valuable in your life.
Mhm.
I, for me, I chose overalls. All winter long, I wear overalls. I have 6 or 7 pairs of them, and that's all I wear.
Nice.
I don't have to worry about, other kinds of pants. And overalls are not cheap. They're
Right.
like $60, $70 a pair, but they last for
Yep.
years and years
They
and years and
last.
years and years. They're
Right.
cotton, they're denim, they're heavy duty
Hmm. Yeah, they pay for
worker.
themselves.
Well, yeah.
Hmm.
And and they just build character. The older they get, it's just like I do all
Right.
kinds of stuff in them. I paint and build and I garden and
Hmm.
whatever,
Hmm.
and they have a memory.
Right. Well, then when
Sometimes
they
your
wear
clothes
out,
become
you
yeah.
can upcycle them into a quilt or a bag or something, you know, it's just keep it going.
It's okay. All my husband's blue jeans to my neighbor. I didn't realize they were his good blue jeans that he
Oh.
hardly ever wore. I was like, you never wears these here. Sure. She was quilting for the church or something, had something
uh,
going on, and they needed blue jeans so that they could make these quilts.
oh no.
He's
He's like,
like,
honey, where's my pants?
what do you mean?
Oh,
The
that's some
ones that
pants.
my good ones? So well, they
Where is
never
my
wore them.
super
I thought they
suit?
didn't fit. Sorry.
We have gone so far off of what I
We
thought we were going to
have.
be talking
We have.
about.
But this all relates to your retreats that you're doing. So maybe we should back up and talk about
Sure.
Manos Chronicles a little bit
Okay.
because I think that was the basis for how you got into wanting to do these retreats and all of these old-timey things that are just so exciting that I have to talk about.
Kind of. I mean, it's like a parallel thing.
Mhm,
Many years ago, I've been up here a long time, but I just that's an aside. Anyway, sorry. Focus. Yes, I can do this. Hashtag ADHD. Um, um, I just fell in love with the show Heroes. Well, I mean, here's some props from the show right here.
mhm,
And it just it I became friends with the with that showrunner through weird circumstances, and he had me on the set one time, and we were sitting together, and I was like, this is it. The bug bit me. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And he's like, what, sit on a set? I'm like, no, I want to make a show. I want to make a show, and I want it to be inspirational, because that's what the message was behind Heroes is anybody can be a hero, anybody can save the world, right? So I took that, and my husband and I were trying to think of, well, what kind of story can we tell? And I happened to know the actress from the original Manos, the Hands of Fate, one of the worst movies ever made. If you've ever watched Mystery Science Theater 3000, that's one of their most popular episodes because that movie's just so bad. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's for free up on YouTube. Manos, the Hands of Fate, Mystery Science Theater 3000. Go watch it. It's hilarious because it's like terrible, but I knew the actress that was the little girl in that movie from 1966. And I'm thinking, well, what if we did something kind of in the vein of Heroes, which is that anybody can be a hero. They have to make good choices. You know, they can't just hide away from the world. Spoilers. They have to, try and be a force for good in this world. And that's basically why you're having me on the show here now is how can one person make a difference? How can we all be heroes for ourselves and for each other? And that's kind of where the genesis of that show of the Manos Chronicles came from, is what happened to that little girl. All these years later, she's been in hiding. I mean, this is like the first 5 minutes of the first episode, and she's found out. So how does she navigate that? What help does she get to navigate that and keep herself safe? She has a choice. Does she run away again, or does she turn and face the threat and decide this has to end, and I'm going to end it? So that's the main gist of that story. So um, and carrying that into how we make a difference, and I'm trying to think of I mean, it ties in, but it kind of doesn't tie in, but yet it's it's that hands-on simplicity of just getting in there, getting in the trenches, making the bread and doing the thing, and making that choice for making a better world. I mean, does that I'm not sure if I'm connecting the dots here, but you tell me.
You
How
are
am I doing?
totally connecting the dots. I
Okay.
can, you're tracking just fine as far as
Yay.
I'm concerned. Uh, It's, we all, we all can make a difference in even the little things. It's the little decisions we make that
Yeah.
accumulate over time. I'll give you a
Mhm.
different example. One, I was talking to somebody else about the need that we have to have 12 of everything. And, like screwdrivers. We only
Oh,
really need
well.
one, and most people could get by if there was a lending library.
Ah.
There's things that we have that we don't
Mhm.
use very often. Maybe not screwdrivers, because I use screwdrivers all the time, but,
Well,
for
I have
for that
about 5 of them because I don't know where 4 of them are, so there's that.
there's that, and it's partly because we have so much crap that we only use every so often, that if
Mhm.
there was some place where we could go and we could, just check it out when we needed it,
Yeah.
even
Well,
if you
yeah.
paid
School
for it.
libraries. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, car car tools are like
Mhm.
notorious for that. And O'Reilly's really did come up with a great solution because you can
Hmm.
rent tools from O'Reilly's.
Can you? I had no idea.
You can
Wow.
actually just borrow them. You buy them,
That's
and then you
great. I
bring
had
them
no
back
idea.
within a certain amount of time, and
Mhm, mhm.
you've gotten to use it for free,
Yeah,
essentially. It's
okay.
amazing. I love O'Reilly's. Um, they're not even paying me to say that. And cars are like the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
It's just like we have them. I don't want to have to deal with them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but it is just like if we didn't have to have so much of everything,
Mhm,
I'm really moving more into a minimalism world
mhm.
where, better quality, fewer
Yep.
of them. You don't
Yes.
need 9,000 shirts. If
Yeah.
you have 5 shirts that are really well made
Mhm,
and you
mhm.
know how to take care of them and clean them, and it just spreads into everything.
Yeah.
Shoes, clothing, cooking utensils.
Yeah.
There was a time in the 80s where everybody had to have a food processor and,
Yeah. All the
the
gadgets.
crock pot and all the
Yep.
gadgets. It's like,
Yep.
really, you just need like a couple pots and you're good.
Yeah, yeah. We're in such a consumerist society. It's just mushroomed, right? Because
Mhm,
again, that they make money off of us. We are the product, right?
mhm,
So constantly saying you need all of this stuff. Isn't this great stuff? And it's all oh, your stuff broke. Oh, you got to get new stuff, And my main sewing machine sitting right over there is from 1893. It's a Singer treadle sewing machine. I've never had it serviced. It has always worked like a champ. And I get 1893. This, and the reason that so few of these survive in this condition is because Singer did a trade-in program where they destroyed the old machines because they were too good and tried to sell you, well, this machine's better. Look at all these updates, but it didn't last as long. And oh well, that's a shame that broke. You should get a new one. And it's the same kind of thing. So that's been going on for 100 years. But it yeah, yeah,
Organs are the same way.
quantity.
Organs used to be push
Mhm.
pedal. You had
Yeah,
to
right,
push.
pump organ. Yep,
Yeah, my aunt
yeah,
had
yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, we've got one at the museum down there.
yeah, she's
Mhm,
from
mhm.
Nebraska. They save stuff there.
Right.
Um, yeah, and the treadle sewing machine, I've seen those too.
Mhm.
But there's a technique to it, and you have to do it
Yeah,
because you have to like
yeah,
be able to like keep it going because it's not the
yeah.
same as having an electric one. And
Uh,
the electrification of our country and the world has really
mhm.
changed the world. It
Yeah.
keeps us from going out and experiencing the night sky.
Mm,
It also it makes it disrupts our sleep cycles because now we can
right.
work all night and have to sleep
Mhm.
all day,
Right, right.
and it just like it, you lose so much of the experience and the richness of being a human when you're inside all the time and you aren't experiencing the world as it was intended for you to experience,
Mhm, mhm.
including growing your own food or
Yeah.
finding your food or just
Mhm.
making friends with trees.
Making friends with trees. Right. Yes. Well, and plants and being, like we were talking about foraging, being able to identify those plants,
Yeah.
is super important. I mean, how empowering is it to be able to know you can walk out your door and make yourself lunch just by walking around, because you know what you're looking at. I mean, it saves you money and it feels cool because how many other people can do it? It's like you're in a little secret club or something. It's like, ooh, I know how to do this.
When I lived on my homestead, there's just like a feeling that you get when everything on your plate is something you've made.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's an Instagram picture right there. It's like, look at everything I did. This soup contains, everything from the garden. So
The
yeah, yeah.
eggs and the bread and the
Hmm.
cheese and the
Yeah,
vegetable
all
salad,
that
and
stuff.
it was just like it felt so good.
Hmm. But I
And
fully realize this is slightly a place of privilege because someone who has time to be able to like make your own cheese and do all these things aren't
mhm.
it there that person's not working three or four different jobs outside the home and or otherwise maybe they're disabled and they can't physically go out and grow a bunch of stuff. My 92-year-old mother-in-law certainly can't cook all that stuff herself. I do some of her cooking for her because I mean she just can't anymore. Um, so
But
that's to
that's
be
where community comes back in again too.
right. You anticipated my point. Very well done.
Sorry.
No, that's
I
it. That's
stepped
we're
on
having
you.
a conversation. That's absolutely it. And yeah, I can't stress enough. In fact, there's a great documentary called Join or Die. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Mm,
But it's basically, well, it starts off with the Oddfellows, yay, and talks about what community used to be a thing because it used to really matter, to be able to get together and talk to each other and come to understandings and help each other in a community way. And it talks about it stems from a book that was popular called Bowling Alone. And it's like, what happened to all the bowling leagues? What happened to the PTA? What happened to all of these ways that we used to get together as people, as a society? And without that, it's horribly broken. I mean, we don't talk to each other. We're doing this all the time instead of trying to come to understandings and working together to make a better world, right?
being
So that's
curious.
being curious, and this actually ties into the whole retreat idea, which is whether it's 6 people or 60 people, bringing people together in a purposeful way with goals of, I need to heal myself, I want to be in a safe place, I want to help heal other people. The big retreat that I have planned for next summer is for 30 people, and it's basically sort of a LARP. It's kind of it's like, come be a hobbit for 4 days, right? It's themed, right? To be
Mhm.
like a little tiny Ren fair that's private. And I am asking everybody to please donate an hour of your time during this weekend and run a discussion group or help out in the kitchen or do sweep something or whatever, to try and foster this community because I've been at retreats like that in the past and they've been so amazing and so just, I mean, I still remember it 35 years later, the ones that I used to do way up in Mendocino. I don't go anymore because it's just, reasons. But I wanted to kind of catch that lightning in a bottle again and for other people and help them feel supported and like, oh wow, there's other people like me and this is a great place. What, sorry, was oh
My dogs decided, my husband came home and my dogs decided to
oh,
get excited.
I got it right. We'll
It's
just edit that
it's real
out.
life. Yeah.
Yep.
Y'all can come along. I live in a house with 3 dogs right now. I'm babysitting grand dog, my grand dog, and I already have two
Granddog.
other dogs. Um, when I first went and visited your site, the thing that
Mhm.
struck me about what you're doing and creating
Mhm.
there was when I used to go to Girl Scout camp as a little girl. And it was so fun, but everybody had
Mhm.
jobs, you learned a lot of stuff, but you also had jobs, you worked in the
Hmm.
kitchen, you were either helping
Yeah.
with cooking or cleaning, and the wood fairies, if you put your elbows on the table, you had to brush the dead wood fairies off and blow them off and wish them. This the
Right.
silly things you remember from those kinds of events, but
Hmm. But you
as a
remember them.
I do remember them. And
Hmm.
there was a magic tree that we could slide down. It is
Oh,
in
wow.
California somewhere. I don't know where it was exactly.
Ooh. Hmm.
Must have been north of San Diego. It
Hmm.
probably wasn't that far. I was like 6 or 7 or
Right,
9.
right.
I
Within an
think it
hour's
was
bus
9 or
trip or
10.
something, maybe.
Yeah, but and I lived in San Diego as an adult, and
Mm.
I don't have any idea where that was. But
Mm.
but the point is that you you have fun, you build
Hmm.
relationships with
Yeah.
people and
Yeah.
memories. It's
Yeah.
just like the only thing we're going to take with us after this life is our experiences,
Hmm.
none of the
Hmm.
crap that we accumulate.
Well, and what we do for others is going to be remembered by those people. And there's a
Mhm.
saying, what is remembered lives. And whether that's a person or a deed, it's less about stuff than it is about, and I say this as a past president of a museum, which where stuff is important, but it's how it's the stories of the people that came before, and that's part of why I'm doing the old timey stuff. What I call it old ways retreats, because it's not just show up and do yoga, which I mean that's fine. There's like 90% of retreats out there are about yoga. I'm about the hands-on experience. You want to learn how to turn something green, let's learn how to do that with plants. You want to do a thing at a talent show, for everybody else. Maybe it's your first time, maybe you're really nervous. You're in a super supportive atmosphere, and maybe that moment for you is going to be so transformative that you're not going to have stage fright as much. And you can go next time, and you know what, I'm going to try busking, and I'm going to try doing this magic trick that I saw and learned it. It's those moments that can change a person's life, and you don't know what it's going to be, and the person doesn't know what it's going to be. But but I want these retreats to foster that, so that's what can come of them, and hopefully people will come back and bring their past experience to the next group, and the cycle continues in a beautiful way. It's my hope.
I love it. I love it. And I don't know, just I'll tell you later. I have
Okay.
thoughts. So many thoughts.
Okay.
I'm really excited for you, and I love what you're doing. And people can learn about the Old Ways retreats on your website called oldwaysretreats.com.
How original,
And
yes.
yeah, it makes it easy.
It is nice to get the URL is oldwaysretreats.com. The business name is technically Yosemite Old Ways Retreats, to kind of denote that I am gonna do them all the way around Yosemite, in the Yosemite region, because I mean, one of the most beautiful places on earth. How can I not, right? So, and that area surrounding is gorgeous too. I mean, the foothills are beautiful. There's a lot of unique biomes. We can do nature walks. There's ranches out here with horses. And then I've got a gal on an old historic ranch who wants to do retreats. She's got a crystal labyrinth, and she's going to do horse therapy. It's just like, I can't wait to really
So
dive
much
more
stuff.
into this. I mean, I'm just getting started. I mean, I'm just getting started, as they say. So yeah, yeah,
I love
that's
it. I love it. And people
2026
can
is going to be so
watch.
great.
Yes, it really is. It's the beginning of the whole new cycle,
Hmm.
the nines.
Ah,
So you're also doing the Manos Chronicles,
right.
and there are episodes up on Amazon Prime. So
Yep.
if I, I'm definitely going to go check this out.
Cool. It's meant to be a dramedy. It's meant to be kind of fun and weird, and then a little bit silly, but also, I mean, there's important messages in there too.
Mhm.
I I dragged in a character from one of my book series, and he's become super popular, so that's been great. The first three episodes are up on Amazon Prime. Episode four is almost done with editing. I think we might have picture lock in the next couple of days, and meaning all the visuals. We just have to go over the credits again, make sure nobody got left out. And then my husband does all the score. Well, my husband and my son do the scoring. My husband does all the sound design, and the post stuff, that which is kind of the time bottleneck on that. But so 4 should be out very soon. 5, 6, and 7 we're going to film in November, and then that concludes season 1. We're hoping there will be a season 2. You never know with these things. Got an angel investor that's bankrolling actually the episodes 5, 6, and 7, and I have the series in a development track potentially. So I'm waiting to see how that's going to happen. I've signed with a company that's marketing it to various production companies that are bigger than mine, that actually have a bank account. Well, I have a bank account, but you know what I mean. They have a bigger pockets, you know. So
Mhm.
that's my hope, is it'll continue, in a bigger way. I'd love it to be, the big thing. So show up on Netflix. Who knows? I don't know.
Amazon Prime's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Gotta
yeah.
say, I'm
Yeah, I mean,
impressed.
it's not an Amazon original series. They're not paying for it, but it is
Mhm.
available on that service. So, but you
But
never know. Maybe they'll decide,
they,
hey,
yeah.
we'll run it for 1 season and then cancel it. Hey, maybe, yeah, yes, they do with everything.
Well, it's how things can get momentum.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, no, that's true. I mean, they
people
brought
didn't.
back like the show Lucifer, which is actually pretty good. It
Mhm.
was on something. Oh, where was it? It was on, and then Netflix had it, and then they canceled it, and then it went to a partnership with Warner Brothers. That was a whole convoluted thing. I know way too much about television, and that is not this podcast. So
I like television.
yeah, most people do. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like to
If
binge
anybody
watch
ever
stuff.
wants to message me about what happened with Heroes, that's a whole hour right there. I mean, oh, you go on. So anyway,
So anybody out there who has a podcast about television,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
want to
Here,
talk to
here,
Willow.
yeah. Right, right. I've got all the dirt on what happened to Heroes. So, well, which a lot of I shouldn't say. So,
Well, she'll come on your show and she'll talk about the things that she can talk about, and she'll leave your
yes,
audience wondering.
right. I'll leave you in suspense. That's the best part. See, I can tell.
Yeah,
Magician never reveals all their secrets.
right. Is it want to come back
Right.
wanting more?
And speaking of podcasts, I have a podcast and it talks about old timey things. It's Willow's Vintage Homestead. And and my third episode, it was my friend Robert Bax talking about vaudeville and magician things, and that's a
Mhm.
speaking of magician things. So yeah, yeah.
Very cool.
Thought I'd throw that in there.
Well, I'm glad you did because I didn't know.
Oh, well,
Shh.
hey, we've all learned things.
We have indeed. Thank you
I have a
so much
great
for
bread
joining me.
recipe.
Yeah, you got that.
I do. The bread
That's your
recipe,
bonus for
everybody.
joining.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on. I know that we went super long. So, but it was
It's
fun.
all good. To learn more about Willow and her retreats and the Manos Chronicles, visit oldwaysretreats.com, and you can catch Manos Chronicles on Amazon Prime. And we'll be sure to put those links in the show notes below. If you have a podcast or you're interested in starting one to get your message in front of our huge and active audience, be sure to reach out to us at support@heartlifecoach.com. We love to help spiritual entrepreneurs and coaches amplify their voice and monetize their mission, and offer a variety of ways to do this on Substack. Join us for our next episode as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.